Patrick, we've got an important topic today. We're going to be talking about the really very little explored connection between Jeffrey Epstein and the Saudis. How are you doing today?
Good, good. It's been a hectic week once again. And I thought that you know we can't really talk about Epstein and all the connections with Robert Maxwell in Saudi Arabia, as well as Epstein having an address in Saudi Arabia in Riyadh,
Yeah.
without mentioning MBS, Mohammed bin Salman, Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, basically committing a coup against the rest of the royal family in Saudi Arabia, with the help of Mossad, CIA, and the Obama administration. So,
Wow. Obama administration. Holy cow. I did not know
sir.
about that. So I think it's important that we remind everybody, the format that you and I use, and I love this. You really never tell me anything about what it is we're going to be discussing. It's sort of directly off the cuff. And I like that. I don't know what you're going to say. I don't influence what you're going to say. And frankly, I often learn things that oh, we need our graphic here. I learn things that I don't know about, and it's important that people remember that we're going to be doing a sponsor exclusive segment right after this. People can sponsor you, Patrick, and the Single Company by going to substack.com/at Single Company, and we're going to have the sponsor exclusive segment available on there. Of course, also everybody who sponsors Crowdsource the Truth on any of our sponsorship channels, crowdsourcethetruth.substack.com, subscribestar.com, patreon.com. But fill me in, because I did not know about any kind of involvement between MBS and Obama.
Yeah, so this started in about 2013. So Mohammed bin Salman, he was essentially the Secretary of Defense for Saudi Arabia. Now, Saudi Arabia, they've been a very spooky country, if you will, going all the way back to 1979, when the U.S. armed the Mujahideen, the MEK, which was Osama bin Laden's far left group that fought the Soviets along northern Afghanistan. Eventually, they brought their prospects and their training back to Saudi Arabia, subsequently to Pakistan, back to Afghanistan, and just kind of spread the message of Al Qaeda all around the Middle East and Western Asia. So this is when it all started. So when the Obama administration took out Osama bin Laden in 2011, um, there was uh, there was somebody missing at the throne, somebody missing at the helm for this global war on terror that had been perpetuated for the last 11 years. Some would say all the way back till 1991. But this global war on terror needed a new face. ISIS was too behind the scenes, too clandestine, too broad. So that's when the Saudi Arabian government, especially throwing billions of dollars into their intelligence apparatus after Osama bin Laden was killed, um, they saw an opportunity to kind of be the king of the GCC, the Gulf states, the Gulf Arab countries, and really assert dominance in the region while sponsoring terrorism around the world. Now, the only reason that they were able to do any of that was because of Mossad, CIA, and the Obama administration, which through the State Department, through USAID, through CIA, in conjunction with Mossad, they struck a deal with the Saudi Arabians, which is undisclosed, but particularly MBS, Mohammed bin Salman. Now, he was kind of the de facto puppet, if you will, of the West. And that's what a lot of people in the region will say about him today, is that he's more loyal to places like Israel and the United States and the Five Eyes versus the actual Gulf Arab states. So this ties into Adnan Khashoggi. So Adnan Khashoggi, Saudi billionaire that we've talked about in length, um, his nephew Jamal Khashoggi, who was a journalist, he was murdered by Mohammed bin Salman's intelligence apparatus and paramilitary at the Turkish embassy in Istanbul, or excuse me, the Saudi embassy in Istanbul, Turkey. He was stabbed, he was tortured, he was beaten. Um, and this has a lot to do with, Jamal Khashoggi really taking on what Danny Casolaro left behind. I know it's a lot to take in right now, but trying to kind of uh, compact this net.
Well, but yeah, let's just slow down for a second because I think there's a lot of stuff maybe that people don't know about. I got to say, I don't know if I'm closely familiar with Danny Casolaro. What is it that he did?
So Danny Casolaro, he was a journalist in the 80s and 90s. There is a documentary about him on Netflix. It's called The Octopus Murders. Um, but Danny Casolaro,
Oh,
which,
right. That I did
you know,
hear about.
yeah. And so, in summary, Danny Casolaro, he uncovered things about the Clintons, especially with Iran-Contra. He tied that into human trafficking. He tied it also into the private prison industry. So he really focused on a company called the Wackenhut Corporation,
Oh
which they've
boy,
been
I
around.
gotta get more into this. Yeah, this crosses over. Okay, Wackenhut, sure.
Um, And essentially, he was rattling all the wrong cages. And it was in 1992, I believe, he was found in a motel bathtub, stabbed 57 times, um, and also shot, I believe. And it was ruled a
Wow.
suicide by the coroners. The coroners refused to testify. One of them died. Um, and it was called the Octopus Murders because he was focusing on this connection, like we've talked about before, Jason. Promise software that was brought to the federal government by Robert Maxwell. Um, so this is kind of what Danny Casolaro was doing and why he got taken out. This is what Jamal Khashoggi was trying to continue. He got taken out.
Well, but wait a
Um,
minute. I got to pause you on Jamal Khashoggi because I'm very suspicious of Jamal Khashoggi. He was a questionable character who was definitely. The other thing that you said that I want to kind of hit the brakes on a second, not to disagree, but to ask, do we honestly believe that the Obama administration took out Osama bin Laden? Because there's a lot of evidence that that's a fantasy, a fiction, if you will.
that is That is a billion-dollar question because I was on that ship, not at the time, but I was on the USS Carl Vinson,
Right.
and the red pad eye, as it's called, on the flight deck is painted red instead of gunmetal gray because that's supposedly where Osama bin Laden's blood spilled when they were taking him on the flight deck. Now, I
Wait,
talked to
why would they paint it red?
I that always puzzled me too because I'm like, okay, but that isn't that kind of honoring the guy?
Yeah.
Like you're giving him this permanent uh, idolization on a U.S. Navy aircraft carrier. I always thought it was weird. Um, I always thought it was really weird. I've been trying to talk to Robert J. O'Neill, the Navy SEAL, former Navy SEAL. Um, he's the one who supposedly pulled the trigger, shot and killed bin Laden. He claims that happened. He's wrote
Aren't Navy
extensive books.
SEALs supposed to not talk about that kind of stuff? And don't a lot of people think that guy is kind of full of shit?
Yeah, so there's a lot of controversy with him now because he is very pro-war lately, which is not something that's common at all in the NSW community, Naval Special Warfare. So it's very weird to see, this guy who supposedly pulled the trigger on Bin Laden being so hawkish for war lately, which. that he's a whole nother can of worms, but I've been trying to reach out to him, haven't gotten through, because I just want to ask him. I feel like I haven't read his book, I've listened to his podcast, but he is staunchly defending that, Osama bin Laden is dead, we killed him. Um, Now, here's the thing: is that SEAL Team Six, when they went in to go do the operation to take out bin Laden, they were not allowed to under the Geneva Conventions. So this is where the Obama administration got very, very creative, um, where they augmented SEAL Team 6 into CIA and State Department so that it would not be an act of war, nor would it be a special military operation. It would be a top secret clandestine intelligence operation that would not be beholden to the Geneva Conventions. And I believe um, it's called Article 50. I want to
Oh
say
yeah.
that's the broad term is Article 50, which gives CIA basically free reign to go out and do the Lord's work overseas, including taking out high value targets like Osama bin Laden. Um, so the jury's still out in Osama bin Laden, but his intelligence connections, we could go on for hours about him as well, because when he was with the Mujahideen in 1979, it was our State Department, it was our CIA, it was the Carter administration, the Ford administration, and then subsequently the Reagan administration that funded this far left communist group, Islamist and communist, which is a rare combination. But they were using the Mujahideen as this hedge, not just against the Soviet Union, but also to Iran in the West. There's religious disputes between the MEK. The Middle East is a mess. There's so many different countries with their hands in the cookie jar, so many different conflicting ideologies. Everybody's trying to be the superpower. You have the Five Eyes, you have us, you have Israel, you have the European Union, you have NATO, you have China, you have now Russia. Everybody has their hands in that proverbial cookie jar that is the Middle East. So it's a mess that we could talk about for 10 hours, like Scott Horton did on Lex Friedman's podcast. But um,
Ten
Osama bin
hours
Laden, yeah, he did a 10-hour podcast with Lex Friedman, and it was
straight the
um,
way through. Didn't they have to like
yeah,
go to the bathroom and stuff?
yeah, they took like bathroom breaks and stuff, but
Holy cow!
I the guy's amazing. I mean, I have a lot of respect for Scott Horton. And I'm not really a libertarian, but I have libertarian values. But that guy is just unbelievable. I mean, he's mopping the floor with these PhDs, these national security experts, these Henry Kissinger disciples, these Zbigniew Brzezinski disciples. Like, he is just mopping the floor with them. And the guy dropped out of community college to go pursue a radio career. And it's like the amount that this guy is well read and can retain things is unbelievable. I mean, I've never seen anything like it, not personally and not on the internet. So, um,
Yeah,
if
he
anybody, yeah,
he's connected with Ken Silva. They're publishing a book that Ken is writing. So we've spoken about Scott before. I mean, I've never met him, but I've seen him on podcasts and stuff. He's an impressive guy. Now, forgive me, Patrick, because I meant to bring it up. You've been going viral on Instagram, isn't that right?
yeah, and it was
Tell us about that.
yeah. So I posted a video because my reach on Twitter has seemed to be very limited, as well as TikTok. Um, So I was just trying to break into the Instagram algorithm once and for all. So I screen recorded this clip of Scott Horton debating Bill Kristol. Now, if you guys don't know who Bill Kristol is, he worked for Bill Clinton. He worked for the Bushes. He advised Obama. He is this hawkish neocon author, journalist, scholar. Um, it was the Hoover Institute, I believe he was a part of at the chair, and the Cato Institute in Washington, D.C., which is the conservative think tank in D.C. But
Wasn't he
um,
also part of the Project for a New American Century?
that's yes, Project for a New American Century. That's what I was trying to think of. Yes, yep. So in the early 2000s, he was all in on the Iraq War. He was all in on the invasion of Afghanistan. He's been calling for war with Iran for decades. Um, so just another John Bolton type, another Henry Kissinger, guys who never put on the uniform, um, and are so quick, but also so feral, to commit a war on behalf of the United States, um, which I've talked about that ad nauseum as
Real
well.
quick,
But
Patrick, let me just interject this because I was just speaking about this earlier today. My live stream got cut off, so I don't know if people who are watching us now got to see it. But, we had this hearing this morning where you've got Lisa Cook, the ousted Fed governor, who brought a lawsuit against Donald Trump and the Federal Reserve. They had a hearing this morning, and one important factor here is that on her legal team is Norm Eisen's Democracy Defenders Fund, which I allege is an illegally organized nonprofit that is basically a law firm disguised as a nonprofit. And guess who's on the board of directors but our buddy. Now, wait a minute. I thought we had Bill Kristol on here. I thought I saw him. This is our team, but there's our board, I think, board of directors.
mm,
Ambassador. There he is, board member.
look at that. Look at that. Uh,
Pretty
Bill
interesting,
Kristol.
right?
Yeah. Um, that's sorry, I'm trying to stay on track, but
Sorry, that's my
it's
fault.
no, you're good. You're good. You're good.
You
Um,
were going viral on Instagram with this
yeah.
debate with
It-
Bill Kristol, and that set us off on that
yeah.
direction.
Yeah, so I posted this video of Scott Horton um just mopping the floor with Bill Kristol, and he has this line where Bill Kristol is, he's like pontificating and just groveling about, oh, Scott doesn't want, women to be free from the Taliban. He doesn't want women to drive. And then Scott just mops the floor with him, and then you can see Bill Kristol reach for his microphone like he wants to interrupt. And Scott is just going like a million miles an hour, just fact, 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 just hammering him. And then he says, hold on, be quiet, don't interrupt yet. You got to hear this. And just demolishes him. I've never seen anything like it. This guy who's built this decades long career advising presidents, advising, academics and all these people getting destroyed by this guy who I think has a genius IQ. I mean, if he's not in Mensa already, I mean, he needs to be. And the way he articulates these things from just like an objective point of view, it inherently becomes like a libertarian value, because what I've learned from him is that that's really the only objectivity that we have as far as foreign policy, national security, and the geopolitical stance of the United States is to look at it, from a libertarian standpoint, because that's the only party line that we have objectivity from. Um, so it was beautiful. It's up to like 30,000 views and like 1,000 likes. I hope he sees, that he's going viral. Because I'm a big fan. So
That's
if
great.
you could,
Well,
yeah.
yeah. Sorry, continue, please. If you could what?
Oh no, you're good. I'm lagging a little bit.
No, not at all. I wanted to. It's always interesting when you and I get together because we're just getting to know each other, and there's so many areas that our interests cross over, but yet you know many things about aspects of it that maybe I don't know, and I think the same is true in reverse. But I just want to make sure that people aren't getting disappointed with our fascination in each other's conversation because we got to bring it back to Epstein and the
Yeah.
Saudi connection.
Um, so yeah, if anybody missed any of the episodes, I think we've brought up Adnan Khashoggi,
Right.
um, at least 3 or 4 episodes, because he is a central figure in this entire saga. I mean, uh, Saudi billionaire, was laundering money through Howard Hughes's hotel. It was later sold to the Adelson family and Sheldon Adelson. He was buddy buddy with Robert Maxwell. He sold Donald Trump the yacht. Um, it's just a whole, he's a very central figure. But his nephew, Jamal Khashoggi, so he was a journalist in Saudi Arabia, also America. He worked for the Washington Post, I believe. Um, so what Jamal Khashoggi was working on, um, so he was working on exposing the Israeli Pegasus spyware, which a lot of people say is, the Promise Software 2.0. So the thing with Pegasus is it's what's called a zero-day software or a zero-day virus, whatever, term you want to apply to it. But basically, it doesn't require you to click a link. It doesn't require you to get phished. It doesn't require any interaction from the victim, because it is a completely offensive cyber weapon that they can put on iPhones, Androids, PCs, Macs, pretty much any device that is connected to the internet. They can put it on your device without you ever knowing, and hear all your calls, all your texts, all your pictures, anything you've ever done. It is like a black box that they can put onto your phone without you knowing. And that's what Jamal Khashoggi was uncovering. And he also tied it into what Danny Casolaro found with the Promise software, and how it was infecting, all these different countries' national security apparatus. But he was killed in the Saudi consulate in Istanbul, Turkey. He was strangled. He was dismembered, and uh, they evaporated his body with acid. So
Did
they
they?
they
I thought
tried.
they chopped him up into little bits. I've always said he got julienned. And
Yeah.
then they
So
had a
he.
video of somebody leaving the embassy disguised as him, right? Wearing the same clothing.
Hmm.
Did you
Yep.
also know this detail, Patrick? This elimination of Khashoggi, who we might disagree, I'm not sure he was a journalist, but that was certainly his knock, right? His non-operational cover. This
Yeah.
murder took place to the hour 1 year after the Las Vegas shooting. It's October 2nd in Istanbul, but that is October 1st at night in Las Vegas.
Yep. And that's what I'm finding too. And that's why I've been working on two conflicting stories, but I feel like they have so much to do with each other.
Right.
The Las Vegas shooting, that stinks to high hell. I mean, I would say that, vice versa. If we uncover more about Epstein, that will definitely lead us to Stephen Paddock and the Las Vegas shooting. Um,
Well, Paddock really, of course, he's the patsy. I don't know if you're familiar
yeah.
with John Cullen's work and all the stuff that he and I did for years on this, but John certainly has large aspects of that Las Vegas story well figured out in terms of there was an aerial assault from helicopters that are linked to the Saudi Arabian National Guard that had these type of Boeing helicopters in Mesa, Arizona. It's very, very
Hmm.
involved. We're almost out of time here on this intro segment, but we're going to continue this. I hope people will join us. You've got to get onto substack.com/single company. Of course, also people who are sponsoring Crowdsource the Truth on crowdsourcethetruth.substack.com or subscribestar.com or patreon.com/crowdsource the truth are going to be able to join us. And people who follow me on X and subscribe at JG_CSTT. But before we go, Patrick, just take us out in the last minute here. We've got a lot to continue in our discussion in the sponsor exclusive segment.
Yeah. Once again, thank you, Jason, for giving myself and my company a platform. Please follow us on Instagram, guys. It's at SingleCo on Instagram. We have a bunch of viral clips up there. We talk about all the same things that we do on X, that we do on Substack. Follow us on TikTok. You might not see our videos. TikTok's like they're crushing our account. But yeah, support us. Please sign up for Substack. Subscribe to our Substack. Subscribe to Jason. Support him. He does incredible work. So please support us, guys, if you want us to keep doing this. I mean, I'll do it for free, but because it's fun. But
It does
yeah,
help a lot to have this support. And I apologize, I don't have Instagram on this computer. I should also point out, thank you very much for stepping out of your, I don't know if you're millennial or Gen Z, but it was very non-Gen X for you to be appearing vertically previously. And now you have, come over to my side of the technological fence by having this wonderful new high-tech video setup over there. And of course, couldn't do that stuff without sponsorship. So thanks to everybody